Welcome to the Strangers on the Way podcast. I am so excited to introduce you to today's guest. She is passionate. She is changing the world, really, in many, many ways. Her name is Randi Moxi. She is an author and a motivational speaker, and she has quite a beautiful story. Just released a book, first of a book series called the Pity Positivity series. If you're on YouTube, you can see the cover of her children's book. It looks so much fun. Randi, thank you for being on the podcast today. Could you just start by sharing a little bit about who you are and what you're passionate about?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me and for your wonderful show. I'm very honored to be here. I have an interesting background, but this particular journey that has brought me here and to you is to plant the seeds of positivity and inclusivity in our kids using the most bullied breed of dog there is in history. And our kids are being bullied. We know that. We know about the cyberbullying. We know about children not being able to manage their feelings and having a hard time with their mental health. And this story shares the power of being vulnerable and telling your friends and family about what's going on. It shares the power of not feeling okay about the fact that people judge you by the way you look. And in the case of Pearl, because she's a pit bull type dog. And it's one in the beginning of a Pity Positivity series that is about planting the seeds of positivity and good for our children while also benefiting animal rescue, because they're all in crisis right now. The shelters are in crisis and the rescues are in crisis and they're struggling. And the most bullied breed of dog is suffering because of it. And so I just want to keep getting that message of positivity out there, keep getting that message of animal rescue out there. And this is just yet another opportunity to do that. So thank you.
Yeah, it's amazing. Could you share a little bit more about the story with us? How did you come up with it? Did it just drop in your imagination? Did it come over time? What did your process look like?
It's not a typical process, but none of my processes or life experiences have been typical. And I think God just made me that way. And so when COVID hit, I was also struggling with a repetitive injury, and I was on my back a lot. And we had just rescued the little girl that's featured in the book, Miss Pearl. And I've been training dogs my whole life. And I had a hard time reaching her. She was loving. She was wonderful. She knew what I was talking about. She's one of the smartest dogs I've ever known. But there was a but. And I couldn't figure it out. And when you know that, you admit that, and you phone a friend, you find the answer. So I reached out to a wonderful woman, an animal communicator and a mental health professional that I had worked with in both regards. And I said, Sam, I love this kid. She's mine. I'm mama. But, but she said, okay, well, I'm just going to cut right to the chase like you always do. She's you as a dog. And if you get to the core of what you don't like about you, you're going to heal her as you're healing yourself. Wow. And I'm just going to cut to the chase. It's PTSD.
Wow.
I had been on a health journey for quite some time. No one had ever, I had been told I was going to die several times. No one had ever mentioned PTSD. And I started doing my research and my due diligence and talking to the dog about it and praying about it. And whenever originally the person that rescued her reached out to me, she sent me a picture and said, help. And I said, yeah, she looks like a pistol, but she's okay. She'll be okay. And I don't know why I heard it. Obviously, we know why. I said, try calling her Pearl. she'll at least connect with you until we figure out why she's being reactive otherwise. And it worked. I would never name a dog Pearl, but Pearl was my grandmother's birthstone, and Pearl's my birthstone. We're June babies. So I looked up the things about pearls and the grit that creates the trauma within a living creature that results in the only gem that doesn't have to be cut or finished. It's trauma. It's trauma into perfection. It's trauma into healed. And so her trauma needed healed, and mine did too. And I said, what do we do? As I'm going through all these books and I'm going through the PTSD list, I found the PTSD pearls within me, the different ages that I had trauma. And then I would try to figure out, I don't know where she came from, but I do know she was dumped in a field with full mammary glands. So she was missing her babies. She wanted to feed them and nurture them like any mother would. And it was just a beautiful experience. And so in that, I was laying down. I said, let's be creative together. And I asked every single preteen mom. Now, not all of them made it into this book, but there are many books to come, of the pageant girls that I worked with during the 5 years that I was a director of Illinois International Pageants. And they all gave permission to use their beautiful little queen's likeness in our book. So they will be forever 10 years old in my books, and now they're driving cars. And so this is a girl that's getting ready to go to a pool party, and the puppy wants to come too. And she says, dogs aren't allowed at pools, and people might be scared of you because you're a pit bull. And that makes her sad. And then she goes to the party sad. And she doesn't pout or stay silent. She tells her mom on the way there. She tells her friends when she gets there. And there's importance in that vulnerability. And there's importance if your friends hear you. They show up for you. And they show up for her in a way that's very special.
Oh, I love that. There's so many golden nuggets like embedded in this, the whole story, even the journey to writing it, and then the actual story. That's beautiful. Did you find vulnerability was a key in your journey of healing as well?
Yes, I'm very stubborn. You just, I don't even know how to describe it. I just have I just have a will to live and serve. And if anyone tells me anything is going to get in my way, that's a hard no from me. But there's a journey that you've got to allow for vulnerability to come in. Even when I was training to act, whenever I was going to college, I had a professor tell me, you're one of the most talented people I've ever worked with. How do we crack you? And I said, just tell me who to pretend to be. And he said, no, that's not how it works. We've got to go in. So a lot of the teaching in the acting craft helped me tap into vulnerability so that I could use it for an art.
Wow.
However, my marriage is what really opened my heart and my mind to being truly open and vulnerable and belonging to and serving someone else the way God made us to do that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Were you aware of that going into marriage, or was it something you discovered just as you got to know another person? And
I never thought I would get married. And especially after I was being told all of the health things. I didn't want to bring someone into that's horrible. Hi, you love me? I'm probably not going to be here very long, so let's make it count. What do you even say, you
Wow.
know? But God worked it all out, and God's time here is God's time for me here is my time here. And my husband didn't want to spend time without me because
Wow.
God made us for each other. And I didn't think of anything going into it other than we're going to learn a lot of things together. And we're going to do it with God directing us and not the world.
Wow.
And that's been very integral to our success. We have a wonderful marriage. Our first date anniversary is at 20 years in 2024. We
Wow.
just celebrated 15 years being married, and
Wow.
it's like we just got married. But with wisdom. It's just wonderful. But I was never fully comfortable being vulnerable before him. With friends, I don't know what is going on with my jacket, but it just keeps smacking me every once in a while. But with friends, with family, I would only go so far. And I don't know what was holding me back. I think it was stubbornness. And I've tried to work through those things and get fully into the fruits of the spirit as best I can. But he just opened a world of, I can fully trust this man. And he's the most Christ-like leader I have ever known. And it's easy to be open and vulnerable with someone like that.
Oh, that's so powerful. I know we're like going on different routes, but any wisdom you'd have for people that maybe are newlyweds, just entering this season, just what you've learned. It sounds you don't really come across a lot of thriving marriages in today's day. And so when you hear of one, it's like, oh my goodness, how did you do this? And yeah, any like nuggets of wisdom along those lines for maybe people entering that season for the first time.
Sure, no marriage is perfect. And as long as you are transparent, open, honest, and communicating about everything, you can't go wrong. And please do the best you can to not let the fleshy nonsense in the world gain little thorns in your, or weeds, actually, little weeds in your garden. Keep your garden flourishing, communicating, connected, together, have fellowship, but keep some things just yours, and outside influences to a minimum.
Okay, that's really powerful. Any tips for like how to not let the thorns affect you or let them take root?
Well, they will take, we live in a fallen world, darling. They will
Yeah.
take root, but you just have to say, wait a second, what exactly is going on here? Figure it out. And then once you figure it out, rip it out.
Wow.
And bloom.
It's so powerful.
Thank you.
I'd love to circle back to your book. So,
Sure.
Why a children's book? It sounds like you've had a ton of experience in this area. Why children?
I love children. I can't have children. I am a pit bull type dog rescue mama, and we just lost our oldest one, but I still have 4, and I'll always probably have at least 5. My husband and I compromised. I wanted 10 because I grew up on a farm. He wanted 5, so we compromised. And I have always loved kids. And since I was a kid, I've been working with kids because my grandmother ran the animal shelter in our town. She was also a very large part of the fair board in our town in West Virginia. And she ran the pageant for young girls in West Virginia and at our county fair. And so from the time I could speak at 5, I was doing motivational speeches. I was talking to kids about volunteering at the animal shelter, and I was talking with 4-H groups. And whenever I went through the ages through pageantry, when I was older, I was a no-brainer because I had a crown to bring into a classroom. So I got access to working with a lot of children that way, and a lot of girls and women of all ages. I mean, I've spoken to the Mrs. division. I've spoken to many different divisions within the world of pageantry, as well the corporate world. And within the corporate world, they would get me connected to their PTOs and connected to their children's schools, because they knew that this is a passion of mine. If I could snap my fingers and save all of the children and animals in need in our world and create a peaceful cohabitative situation, so where we could all thrive, they could all thrive, because they are at our mercy. And what are we supposed to do for the least of us? We're supposed to show up, and not enough people are showing up. So I didn't know if I would be able to walk after the repetitive injury. So this is how I showed up.
Wow.
I wrote this, and I got an illustrator, and I put it out online, because though virtual has a lot of negative things, I could give that. I could bring that creativity. I could bring vibrant pictures. I could plant those seeds and start those conversations in families, start those conversations in classrooms. How were the girls good to Becca? What did the girls do to help the dog feel better? What did Becca do that led to the help coming? We start doing those things young, then maybe some of the children that made the decisions to harm themselves and others would have had a different route to take, because their plan was not that. That is not what they were made to do. But they made a choice because they were stuck in their feelings, or their bad mental health situations, or on the wrong medications, or seeking attention in a way that had to be explosive because they knew no other way.
It's really powerful. I feel like through your book, you're teaching these critical thinking skills to children, and the power, and you'd mentioned the power of choice.
Yeah.
That's really remarkable. And you're setting them
Well,
up
these
for
girls are 10, and at 10, they're making a choice to make a friend's day better. I mean, the girl whose birthday party it is changes the spotlight from herself to her friend. And the more we do that for each other, the more we serve each other in that way, the more we allow the spotlight to be on ourselves and share. I don't feel good. I don't feel right. I feel bad because I hurt her feelings. I feel bad because I had to tell her this truth that exists in our society. And it's so important, but there's so much going on in the world, it just gets passed by. Think of how our world would change if how we begin each day in every school, every grade school, every middle school, we just remind everyone there's no one like you in this world, and there is power in your choice. Please choose to be kind. Please choose to make it a great day. Please choose to serve your classmates in any way you can. It's so simple, but it would make such a huge difference. And if there's something you need, make the choice to ask for help.
So powerful. I feel like us adults could use that message too.
I mean, society as a whole, for sure. There's a lot. I mean, I had them, I have my students that I'm doing the enrichment assemblies for get up and do the superhero stance.
Yeah.
I have 40 to 60-year-old women for networking events. I have them stand up and do that. Take back that power, take back that posture, take back that self-love. Because everybody puts themselves last. Whenever we shift the power back into, I'm made for something good. The more choices for good I put in motion for myself and others in little ways, big seeds will be planted that will change the world. And I was on my back and didn't know if I was going to walk, and I wasn't going to stop.
Wow. Such a powerful way to use a situation that you didn't choose.
Yeah.
You know, to use what you. This morning I was just reading about Jesus, and he broke the bread and then it multiplied, and it's almost like what little you have, using it and it multiplying it, and you've done that. It's powerful.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm not perfect. And
Oh,
whenever I had repetitive injury and couldn't walk and couldn't wear heels anymore, I had some bratty moments. I'm 44. And
sure.
I had some bratty moments. Everyone goes through the why me, the why this, the why that. And I just went back to the choice. Where do you go? What do? You go to the word. Who does that say I am?
Yes.
It says I'm healed. It says I'm learning. It says I'm growing. It says I get double for my trouble. I receive it. It says that we have a job. It says that we are anointed. And my anointing is in storytelling. My anointing is in speaking. My anointing is blowing the roof off an auditorium to ignite positivity in every age, power in every age, turning the spotlight on you first, to warm you, to love you, to say you deserve this light. Now use it to illuminate others.
So powerful. You've mentioned a couple of times faith being a big part of your story. How
Yes.
did that come to be, and how have you just seen God even inviting you into all of this, and you know, making even beauty out of those ashes?
God has been a constant in my life. My mother and her mother were very, very rooted in the word, and not in the Southern way that you would think, and very, very just majestic in their queendom, because we are all kings and queens, and wise and willing to share that wisdom, make you sit and talk, and always bring it back to the word, always bring it back to grace, grace, and more grace. You know, it's just, there's power in emotion. Process it, pray about it, and move on. Don't stay stuck on it. Don't carry it with you. Don't make it an albatross. Don't become the victim. Don't do the poor me thing. You have power to not do that. And had I not had those mentors in my mother and her mother, I don't know how it would have gone. But Reverend Bess, when I was 11 years old and I was being bullied and I was finding my light and my superpowers and being celebrated in the sport of pageantry, I was finding my light in the word. I was seeing God in Reverend Bess. And so I gave my soul to Jesus, and I was 11 years old. And it was all of the conversations that came before. It was my mother and her mother taking everything back to that, no matter what was going on, because it's just a moment in time. But there's a great plan for you. And planting those seeds of good doesn't have to be a ministry, a push all about Jesus. You can go into the schools and tell a story with a dog and make mountains move, make hearts open, make all of the things that need to be done for the least of us. And in an assembly full of children, you know they're there. The poor, the beaten, the broken. You know they're there. I want to find them.
Mm.
Just
Oh,
plant a seed.
good. So good. So let's say someone is listening today and they have a dream like you did, or maybe they're on their back in a terrible season of their life. What would you say to them? Like, how do you get out of that and then start partnering to sow those seeds, or even dreaming like, what did God put in my heart, or what has my experience brought me that I care about changing for someone else? Like, how do we get unstuck and into like almost like dreamland again?
Yeah. Well, clarity came for me because God threw me against a wall because I was chasing the wrong things.
Wow.
So evaluate your life is one of the things. Evaluate everything and just be completely transparent. But before that, you feel it all. Process those emotions. Emotions are given to you as a gift. Don't let them come out towards other people. I've had that happen. I've apologized. I've been forgiven. There are some people that are still holding things against me from when I was 5 years old, but that's their journey and their choice. Do not hold on to it. Do not stay angry. Anger is like drinking poison and expecting someone else to die. It is the most ridiculous thing. And it's something that is generational in my family. It's the first place I go when there's trauma or there's not getting what I want or it not going my way because I'm stubborn. And I just want to do good and be good. And if I'm taken the wrong way, it's easy to be offended. The word says, do not stay offended. And so many people that are on their back stay offended. We cannot be an offended society. We see the offended. This side hates this side. Vote for this guy, or you want people. It's just, we live as a society in a state of offense and division. And that's the enemy. You're playing into the enemy's sandbox right there. If you're in bed, there's a reason. Feel it. Feel it all. Process it. Turn to God. Don't get on the phone. Go to the throne. Then once you've gone to the throne, you can talk it out. I was praying about this and I think this is what I need to do. I really feel like this is what I need to do. If you don't know what you should be doing and you're on your back, read a book. Yvette, the person that introduced me to you, she gave me this, the passion test. She gave me this great book that helps you just get it down, because we're word vomit people, right? We just want all of the things, and then we have all of the sound bites and the social media and the ads and the AI. It's just, we are inundated. It is saturated. We have got to get to the simplicity. Who are you? What do you want? And how are you going to get it? Who are you? What do you want? And is that what God made you to do?
Powerful.
So really, if you are thrown, and I know that it was a kind of roundabout answer to your question, if you are thrown a curveball, figure out how to get it straight and start first with processing your emotions so it doesn't get in your way.
Yeah, that's so good. And then as you were thinking about, you've processed your emotions, and you're thinking about this dream or vision that you had to create this book, Like, how does someone go from that? So say you process your emotions, you heal, because I just learned that offense oftentimes is actually a trigger of a place in ourselves where we need healing.
Yes.
So say you get the healing and you connect with God, then how did that get you to a place of like, this is a dream, I want to help? And, does that make sense? Like, how do you get someone to the next step
Act.
after they've just act? Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I picked up my phone. I hit a memo. I wrote a book in 10 minutes.
Wow.
And then I had already written one that will be the next one. But whenever I was knocked on my back and trying to heal her and heal myself, God told me hers is first.
Wow.
And people need to know about their trauma pearls. People need to plant these seeds in kids so they don't have pearls of trauma that we have to unearth.
Yeah.
And clean and heal and get them back to what they're made to do.
So good. Oh, I love this. I love children so much. Thank you for caring about them, because you're right. If they start off knowing this, it can change their whole story. So yeah, thank you for your heart. If people want to get your book, how can they do that?
They can just go to randimoxi.com, Randi with an I, Moxi with an I, and there is a link there that goes to it. And we will get the website updated soon to have more information about the assembly tour that's happening. If anyone wants to bring me into their schools to tell my story about being bullied and triumphant, and also share my book with the younger kids and help them activate their superpowers that all of the characters exhibited in their amazing friendship and being kind to Becca.
Oh, so good. Yes. So randimoxi.com. And then, yes, if you're connected to a school, do you travel, or are you mostly in the Illinois area?
I do travel. I will be in Ohio soon and Kentucky. And there are plans to do kind of a southern to Florida scenario. It's all in God's hands. However it works out, it will work out. I need to be mindful of my body and not doing too much, but I am able when they told me I wouldn't be. So I'm taking this time to get stronger, and for the days that I can go and I can stand and I can do these things when they told me I wouldn't be standing, it's God just showing how very good he is and that he's not done with me yet. So I'm going to go and bless kids. I'm going to write more books, and I'm not going to shut up until my last breath.
Oh,
just not in me.
I love it. He made you so beautifully. And I feel like listeners now, I feel a fire ignited in me, and I anticipate that they're feeling that as well. So just thank you for who you are and what you impart just from your life and your story. And thank you for really turning crappy situations into something that can change lives. I think your life is the most beautiful story of redemption. And so thank you for inviting us into that today.
Well, and thank you for having me. And one of the things that I tell children is these things in school, they happen through all the eras of your life. There is always going to be bad, but you can always turn it into good.
Yeah.
Or make something good out of it. And that's just so important. And thank you for being open to having these conversations and letting God lead wherever it goes, and for sharing little books like mine and things that we're just trying to do to bring the kingdom come.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Oh, it's an honor to have you. Randi Moxi, thank you.
Thank you, darling. You have a wonderful day.
Thanks.